Hey there! Welcome back to Reddit Dating, best channel for cheating stories. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more spicy stories. I recently discovered a cell phone video of my wife sleeping with her employer. I also discovered a dozen images of the boss jacking off. I'm the tyrant who poured beer on my wife's head over the weekend after discovering unsettling poems concealed in a closet. Today, just as I was about to move on, I came upon a dozen or so photos and videos of the boss, mostly of him jacking off. He emailed them to our home computer, so I'm completely confused. I'm now attempting to come up with something fun and intriguing to do with these. Any suggestions? He works for a huge, well-known corporation. Update. We've been married for 15 years and have 2 young kids. I basically told her she could stay in the house and that I'm not going to file for divorce right now. My wife is in excruciating pain right now. She's been subjected to a never-ending barrage of verbal abuse from everyone. She is sick and disturbed to the point of vomiting, understanding how horribly she has screwed up her life. I can pass along play-by-play details if interested. I'm in charge of the wife. So, right now, I'd feel a lot better if the boss felt some emotional suffering as well. And because my wife has MS, she could become completely paralyzed and die if she does not have health insurance. Update No. 1. I believe I have a strategy. But first, a question. If I post those images and videos online and my wife is fired by her company because he is with me, will our family be able to sue the employer? I suppose it doesn't really matter. I was just curious. Update No. 2. His photographs are being displayed alongside the letters he sent, poetry he penned, and other items. We're currently working on the website. For the following few months, he will undoubtedly feel some emotional and bodily distress in the presence of his friends and relatives. This is absolutely legal, and it makes myself and the rest of the family feel a lot better. We'll be even, and my wife and I will be able to move on. Third update. So we're writing material for the news site using photographs that have been carefully cropped and altered. We only want to show enough for friends and family to recognize him. We can always go back if we need to show more. I'm already feeling a lot better. He's going to get sick. I discovered that he is heavily active in a nationwide children's program. He will undoubtedly lose his directorship as a result of this. That will suffice for me. Perhaps my wife will be able to keep her work and health coverage. For the next few months, he'll be humiliated. Done. I'll post the link here as soon as it's available. Edit. I'm delighted you found this post. Isn't it a pain to be you sometimes? You obviously didn't know a lot about who I was. I'm curious as to what you were thinking when you sent us those movies and images. You honestly believed they wouldn't see my family, didn't you? OMG. If you are suffering with your identity and acceptance, I am the last person you should seek advice from. In addition, if you assume that things can't get any worse, you are gravely mistaken. In fact, you are an even bigger fool now than you were when we first met at Dave & Buster's. Rather than escalating the situation, make an effort to be more reasonable. Consider enlisting the help of an expert. Click here for some insightful information. Please refrain from sending frightening films to married women with families who may be exposed to them. The other female employee in your office has also been distributing the videos if you weren't sure, didn't know, or just forgot about them. There is a prevalent sense that you are a little undersized. Make an effort to be more useful, rather than criticizing me and lying to your buddies about your severe sexual problem. Consider how you might be able to acquire some assistance and begin to address some of these issues. You haven't earned the trust of your organization's directors and employees since you've only validated their long-held perceptions about who you are. You should refrain from referring to your wife as that obese in public places. When we hear something like that from you, it only serves to cement our perception that you are lacking in manners. Threats made by you to my wife in November were captured on tape and transcribed for your benefit. Google Voice is awesome. It's possible that you didn't remember or didn't realize it was a threat at the time, but the recordings are yours, so don't try to claim you didn't make them. This might potentially reach a new level of sophistication if the audio is passed over to the proper authorities. You'll best out of jail on your first day there. So let's stay away from that. I'm well aware that things aren't going to be simple now. When it comes to macho lover and Latin pride, you got the whole thing going on. But if you're ever ready to put an end to this nightmare, please let me know. I'll see if I can come up with something. Story number 2. My wife cheated on me with her ex at our house on the night I planned to propose. I'm at a loss on where to begin. So we'd been dating for approximately 3.5 years at this point, met in college and reconnected and later dated. I had been working late all week because the business in which I work is experiencing a busy period. But today, I worked particularly hard to get out of the office by 6:30 or so to propose to my girlfriend. I had been debating when to propose and concluded that last night would be the ideal time because I couldn't wait until after the busy season was over to ask her to marry me. I went to the best restaurant in town and picked up my takeout order. As soon as I came out of the workplace, I was fortunate in that I was the first phase back in the office. After dinner and my proposal, I even went out and rented the movie Tenet for later that night. So I pull into the parking garage and enter. When it came time to unlock the door, I heard some decent music playing, and I believed she was planning a surprise visit. I was correct. I stroll into the restaurant, set the takeout bags on the counter, and walk out the door to the parking lot. When I open it, there's a guy, her ex, according to her, pleasuring in SFW terms, my girlfriend inside. I didn't know what to make of the situation at the time. I anticipated today would be a regular day of being overworked for 65 hours a week at work, followed by a surprise visit from my wife at her house. To be quite honest, I have no recollection of what I said or did. All I recall is her saying, "OMG, OMG, OMG, you weren't meant to come back. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah," and then disappearing. The next thing I know, I'm in my car, driving over to my work partner's house, where I'll spend the next few hours sobbing as I explain my complicated stay-at-home proposal notion to him. All weekend, up until I just returned, he graciously allowed me to crash on his couch. Throughout the weekend, she had been spamming my phone to the point where I simply contacted her and said, "You need to be gone Monday," and then banned her number. Even for me, this was a serious setback, but I have zero tolerance for dishonest individuals. I'm in a lot of discomfort. That I've wasted nearly 4 years with this girl only to have it end in this manner makes me feel a little bad about myself. So it was the end of me. I've returned to my flat, and she's been beating on my door, merely demanding to speak with me, which I politely deny. We have mutual contacts who have tried unsuccessfully to encourage me to speak with her, and I have rebuffed their attempts. I recently spent the majority of my savings on this ring, and now I'm not sure what to do with it. It's a bizarre situation. My lease is soon to expire, therefore I'm considering moving elsewhere and applying for jobs in a different location. I'm just not able to deal with this mental baggage any longer. I anticipated today would be a regular day of being overworked for 65 hours a week at work, followed by a surprise visit from my wife at her house. To be quite honest, I have no recollection of what I said or did. All I recall is her saying, "OMG, OMG, OMG, you weren't meant to come back. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah," and then disappearing. The next thing I know, I'm in my car, driving over to my work partner's house, where I'll spend the next few hours sobbing as I explain my complicated stay-at-home proposal notion to him. All weekend, up until I just returned, he graciously allowed me to crash on his couch.